The topic for discussion is lymphomas. Lymphomas are a complex group of malignancies of the lymphoreticular system. Usually these are second most common malignancies that occur in the head and neck region. Usually they are of B cell lineages are usually seen. However, T cells and also non-killer cells can also be involved in case of lymphomas. Lymphocytic or histocytic series of cells are usually involved in case of lymphomas. And most common sites of lymphomas include neck, that is cervical region, and armpit region, that is axillary, diaphragm, spleen, inguinal, pelvic, abdominal region are the common lymph nodes that are involved in case of lymphomas. When coming to the classification of lymphomas, they are usually B cell neoplasms, T cell neoplasms or NK cell neoplasms, and we have Hodgkin's lymphomas. And B cell neoplasms, we usually have precursor B cell neoplasm or mature or peripheral B cell neoplasms, whereas in T and NK cell neoplasms we have precursor T cell neoplasms and mature or peripheral T cell neoplasms. And we also have Hodgkin's neoplasms and non-Hodgkin's neoplasm and Burkitt's lymphoma are other types of lymphomas. Now coming to B cell neoplasms, that is precursor B cell neoplasms, we usually have lymphoblastic leukemia cases or lymphoma. We have precursor B cell acute lymphoblastic leukemias, and in mature or peripheral B cell lymphomas, we again have lymphoplasmacytic lymphomas, we have follicular lymphomas, we have mantle cell lymphomas, etc. Now coming, and we also have hairy cell leukemias, diffuse large B cell lymphomas, Burkitt's lymphoma, etc. Coming to T and NK cell neoplasms, again it is further classified as precursor T cell neoplasms. In precursor T cell neoplasms, we have precursor T lymphoblastic lymphomas, and in mature or peripheral T cell neoplasms, we have T cell prolymphocytic leukemias, enteropathic type 2 cell lymphomas, we have adult T cell lymphomas or leukemias, etc. And we have subcutaneous panniculitis like T cell lymphomas, angioimmunoblastic T cell lymphomas. We also have peripheral T cell lymphomas and anaplastic large cell lymphoma, etc. These are various types of mature T cell lymphomas again. Next, coming to Hodgkin's lymphomas. In Hodgkin's lymphoma, there are again various types, which includes nodular lymphocyte predominant Hodgkin's lymphoma. We have classic Hodgkin's lymphoma. Classic Hodgkin's lymphoma are again various types, where in that there will be lymphocytic predominance can be seen in one of the day. There can be nodular sclerosis, mixed cellularity, or lymphocytic depletion. So these are various types of Hodgkin's lymphoma again. Now coming to Hodgkin's lymphoma, usually the cell of origin of Hodgkin's lymphoma is germinal B cell. Usually it is 14% of all malignant lymphomas. Potentially curable. However, it has an orderly spread of the disease from one lymph node to other lymph node. So it involves first one lymph node, then later it enters it. For example, if it is involving cervical lymph node, later it can involve axillary, then splenic, then abdominal. So stepwise it enters a orderly fashion from one lymph node to another lymph node in case of Hodgkin's lymphoma. Hodgkin's lymphoma has a characteristic cell called as Reed-Sternberg cells, and this is a pathognomic feature of this Hodgkin's lymphoma in case of histopathology. Then it is usually of unknown etiology. However, viral etiology has been related to this Hodgkin's lymphoma, which includes Epstein-Barr virus. Epstein-Barr virus is one of the most commonly found virus in case of this Hodgkin's lymphoma, and other includes about 100% of HIV patients with Hodgkin's lymphoma are Epstein-Barr virus positive. About 50% of Hodgkin's lymphoma patients with non-HIV conditions are Epstein-Barr virus positive. That means relationship of this Epstein-Barr virus for lymphoma is highly matched. That means it is more prevalent in case of this lymphoma cases. And genetic predisposition is around 1% for this case of lymphomas. Now coming to clinical features, Hodgkin's lymphoma has a peculiar bimodal representation. That is, it is usually seen in case of young adults of about age group 15 to 35 years, and again in older age group, that is greater than 55 years. So these two age groups are most commonly involved in case of Hodgkin's lymphoma, and males are usually more involved than females, and white population is more involved than the black population. Coming to the first manifestation of this Hodgkin's lymphoma, usually it is a painless enlargement of one or more cervical lymph nodes. Patient usually come with lumps like cervical lymph nodes, axillary lymph nodes. Cervical, about 60 to 70% of patients are usually have this cervical lymphadenopathy, and axillary lymphadenopathy is usually seen in 6 to 20%, and inguinal lymphadenopathy is usually seen in again 6 to 20% of patients. So there will be painless involvement, painless enlargement of lymph nodes in case of this Hodgkin's lymphoma. And these lymph nodes are usually firm in consistency, rubbery, and they are discrete in nature. Usually multiple lymph nodes are involved, and pain in lymph nodes following alcohol consumption is classical symptom of this Hodgkin's lymphoma. Patients who have this habit of alcohol intake, and in case of Hodgkin's lymphoma, patients when after taking alcohol can have the pain in the lymph nodes. This is a classical symptom of Hodgkin's lymphoma. And patients have other constitutional symptoms which include weakness, fatigue, they'll have weight loss, night sweats can be seen. First thing is night sweats, fever, and weight loss less than 6 months. If there is a 10% of weight loss, then these are all the constitutional symptoms in case of Hodgkin's lymphoma. And there also patients also can present with itchy skin, which is nothing but pruritus, and fatigue can also be seen in this case of patients. Then Pell-Epstein fever is a cyclic high-grade temperature is usually seen, which is a pathognomic feature of this Hodgkin's lymphoma. Other features that can be seen are anemia, thrombocytopenia, and there is also increased risk of infection in these cases. Then there is T-cell mediated immune deficiency, which is in this case what happens is because of this immune deficiency, usually patients are prone to excessive other new types of infections such as herpes zoster infections, and also patients also are infected to other fungal and mycobacterial infections, one of the key feature in this case of Hodgkin's lymphoma. And because of this enlarged lymph nodes, what happens is they lay pressure on the surrounding neural structures, nerve structures. This will result in pressure effects of these lymph nodes. And also have at mediastinal region, patients usually have dysphagia because of this compression of the surrounding structures by these lymph nodes. Patients will have dysphagia, and if there is a pressure effect on the retroperitoneal region, they will have urethral obstruction also. Next is progression of this disease. When the disease is in severe state, when there is further progression, it can involve liver, spleen, bone, and spinal cord also. Usually splenomegaly and hepatomegaly are also seen most commonly in this patient. Splenomegaly is seen in about 30% of cases, and hepatomegaly is seen in case about 5% of cases. And this Hodgkin's lymphoma is usually staged with the help of Ann Arbor's staging. This staging is useful for noting down the severity or the disease level, that is advancement of the level. Next, in this Ann Arbor staging, stage 1, what happens is when there will be one or more lymph nodes usually involved in one region is stage 1. In stage 2, if there are more than one lymph nodes, that is more lymph nodes in more than one region, either above or below the diaphragm, that is stage 2. In stage 3, what happens is multiple regions of lymph nodes are involved in either side of the diaphragm. That is stage 3. And stage 4, extranodal involvement can also be seen, such as other than the nodal nodes, lymph nodes like liver, spleen, abdomen. If these regions are also involved, then it is considered to be stage 4. Every stage level, it is again further subdivided clinically into A and B. In A, there are no constitutional symptoms, but in B, what happens is there will be night sweats, high grade temperature, and weight loss, that is about more than 10% of body weight loss. Then this is considered to be B, stage B. These are the picture which is showing about various stages in pictorial representation. Coming to investigations, first is physical examination. In physical examination, a patient to detect this enlarged lymph nodes in the neck, armpit and groin region. Abdominal examination is also done to detect any enlarged liver or spleen, that is splenomegaly or hepatomegaly condition. Blood tests like complete blood picture and WBC count, and also ESR also will help us in coming to a conclusion. Next, serum chemistry like LDH and hypercalcemia. Calcium levels also can be seen. In this case, what happens is usually hypercalcemia is seen. And we also can do bone marrow biopsy, which is a gold standard test in case of detecting this lymphomas. Coming to chest X-ray and lymph node examination with the help of ultrasound, CT, MRI, PET for documentation of remission. PET is nothing but positron emission tomography, FNAC, and definitive diagnosis of lymph node biopsy. This by usually excisional biopsy has to be done than taking an FNAC. Here definitive diagnosis is by lymph node biopsy. Coming to management, usually radiotherapy or chemotherapy can also be done in these patients. Usually combination of chemoradiotherapy is also given for treating this lymphoma conditions. For radiotherapy, about 3500 to 4500 centigrades of radiation is given for about a period of 4 weeks. And chemotherapy, usually the drugs that are, it's a combination regimen, adriamycin, bleomycin, etc. are given in these cases. Coming to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, it is a heterogeneous group of lymphoproliferative malignancy. Here both lymph nodes and lymphoid organs and extranodal organs and tissues are also involved in case of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It usually have a viral etiology. Again, Epstein-Barr virus is most commonly attributed virus to this. Immunodeficiency status is also one among important feature. Especially HIV/AIDS is one of the conditions where non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is more highly prevalent in these conditions. Next, chronic inflammation, and in case of antigenic stimulation also non-Hodgkin's lymphoma can be seen. This non-Hodgkin's lymphoma has a peculiar feature again in the smear, that is popcorn type of cells. In nodular, this picture shows the popcorn cell in nodular lymphocyte predominant Hodgkin's lymphoma. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is again further classified into 3 types, that is low grade, intermediate group and high grade. In low grade, that is indolent, usually it is follicular predominant, small lymphocytic, small cleaved cell, follicular mixed, small or large cell type. And in intermediate group, we have follicular lymphadenopathy, large cell diffuse small cleaved cell, diffuse mixed small and large cell, and diffuse large cell. This comes under intermediate group. Coming to high grade non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. In high grade non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, we usually have large cell immunoblastic, lymphoblastic, and small non-cleaved cell type. These are the classification of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Coming to clinical features, usually it is seen in older age group patients, usually more than 50 years of age group, and males are most commonly involved than females. Like any other lymphomas, lymphadenopathy is the most common clinical symptom. In this, what happens is, it is the most common manifestation is lymphadenopathy, that is enlargement of the lymph nodes. And in aggressive lymphomas, there will be neurological symptoms associated with this. The lymphadenopathy in case of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is again firm in consistency, discrete, rubbery, and non-painful. Usually patients have these lumps without any pain. And cytopenia, hepatosplenomegaly is also seen in case of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Other systemic symptoms include fever, malaise, patient will have night sweats, weight loss, fatigue, pruritus can also be seen. And organ-specific symptoms include shortness of breath, chest pain, cough, abdominal pain, and bone pain are other conditions that are usually seen. In head and neck region, what happens is Valdier ring region, that is the tonsils, the pharyngeal region, and the base of the tongue are usually involved. Around this area, what happens is there will be more amount of swelling because the lymph nodes in this area are involved, resulting in enlargement of the region. And orbit, paranasal sinus, salivary glands, and thyroid are other regions where we can also see lymphadenopathy. This is extranodal lymphadenopathy. And granulomatous changes of gingiva can also be seen in case of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is another intraoral manifestation. Tooth mobility, pain, paresthesia of lower lip is usually seen associated with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Coming to various investigations for this, complete blood picture again, lumbar puncture, gallium scan, PET can also be helpful, especially in case of large cell, identifying large cell lymphomas. Excisional biopsy and PCR is polymerase chain reaction can also helpful in identifying this lymphoma, that is non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Then coming to adult T-cell lymphoma or leukemia, this is usually attributed to HTLV virus, that is human T leukocytic virus. In this, what happens is the transmission is usually transplacental or vertical transmission, that is from mother to child, and it is also through sexual intercourse, through blood transfusion, and in case of any drug abuse or sharing these needles. In these cases also, what happens is adult T-cell lymphoma or leukemia can be transmitted. This is mainly because of viral etiology. The causative organism is HTLV1. In this, characteristically, we can see pleomorphic abnormal CD4 positive cells, which actually give an appearance of flower-shaped nucleus. These are called as flower cells. Coming to dental considerations of these lymphomas, other than the actual lymphoma manifestation, the treatment of the lymphomas usually have a manifestations on the oral cavity, and the dental considerations are mainly attributed to this. Especially in case of patients who are taking chemotherapy or combination of chemoradiotherapy. In this cases, what happens is patients usually manifest with oral ulcerations. So they will be having painful or sore mouth. In this case, what happens is treatment of these oral ulcers has to be taken care of, and then patients also complain of dry mouth because of a side effect of the many drugs like chemotherapeutic drugs like adriamycin, interferon alpha, etc. Hence, treatment of this dry mouth by using any artificial saliva such as carboxymethylcellulose, or asking patient for taking any xylogogues such as pilocarpine, etc. All this can be attributed to the patient. Next, we have bleeding tendencies, abnormal susceptibility to infections in these cases, hence strict aseptic conditions have to be maintained. Next, we have severe bleeding from gingiva, like desmopressin or platelet transfusion has to be done in these cases, and advising patient to carry these conditions and asking them to maintain as atraumatic as possible is also an important instruction that has to be given to the patients. Next, in case of any elective dental procedures, avoid using conscious sedation, especially GA. Even LA is also contraindicated in these cases, because what happens is unknowingly these patients usually have biting and bleeding tendencies is also very high in these cases, and conscious sedation, GA and LA are relatively contraindicated in these cases. Next, coming to Burkitt's lymphoma. Burkitt's lymphoma is also called as African jaw lymphoma, and it is usually caused because of Epstein-Barr virus. It is of three types again: endemic, sporadic, or immunodeficiency associated. Usually it is seen in areas of African region, and in case of sporadic it is distributed worldwide, especially in African and Asian Saharan region, and then immunodeficiency is usually associated with HIV. Other than immunodeficiency associated, that is associated with HIV, the other two are usually associated with Epstein-Barr virus. Normally it is a high-grade B-cell neoplasm. It has a rapid growth where patients usually quickly manifest with this, that in the span of few days to months the size of the lesion usually is very severe or more aggressive in nature. Earliest evidence is there will be loss of bone substance, and it is usually seen distal to developing third molar. Most commonly mandible is involved in these cases, and patients will also have metabolic derangements in this case, and also renal function impairments can also be seen. And in coming to intraoral X-ray picture, we'll have initial thinning and destruction of tooth crypt will be seen in this case, and widening of follicular space is also one of the important manifestation. Because of this enlargement, what happens is there will be displacement of teeth can be seen in these cases, and usually manifest as an osteolytic lesion. Loss of laminar dura can also be appreciated. They have a characteristic sundry appearance where the periosteal subperiosteal reactive bone formation can be seen. And we also have a in a peripheral smear, that is in the smear or histopathological examination, there will be starry sky appearance. Starry sky appearance is there will be scattered macrophages over the smear. This is called a starry sky appearance, and is one of the pathognomic feature of Burkitt's lymphoma. Coming to the management of Burkitt's lymphoma, it is usually by intensive combination of chemotherapy regimen and radiotherapy. High doses of cyclophosphamide is usually administered in case of Burkitt's lymphoma. And this is a picture showing starry sky appearance with scattered macrophages. Thank you.